It's time to fight the Blight, which has been nerfed. It has 750 health now instead of 2,000. Just so you can have more of a chance of fighting it. Yes, TNT is still pretty effective against it.
You're not going to believe this idea I have just had. Look at these! Custom blocks! And you can even search them in the creative menu. And they're stackable, and here's the best part, you can right click to place them down. Now I know what you're all thinking. Dragon, what blocks did you replace to make this work? Well, that's the catch. This has no effect to the vanilla survival blocks. Technically. The keyword there being vanilla survival. Now normally around now I will explain how I did this, but why would I spoil the best part of the video this early on? First off, let me show you the new blocks and how they work. So first off, we've got the Amethyst Block. Now this is going against the traditional kind of Minecraft block style when you have your mineral blocks. Originally I was going to go with this texture, but as you can see, instead I made them panels instead. Now panels are a new item which I'm going to get to because obviously I can't add infinite amounts of blocks with this kind of behavior. There is a limit. So we have these panels instead for the time being. Now the second kind of block also goes against the traditional Minecraft style. This is a Volcanium Block, which is a lot more subtle than your typical emerald block. Now I've even used this in the Future Tempest box, which looks beautiful with shaders by the way. So you can see I've used the Volcanium blocks here, and I think it blends in a lot nicer than emerald blocks. Let me demonstrate by putting some emerald blocks here. So you can see that the emerald blocks pop a lot more than the Volcanium blocks. We can also see the same with the Amethyst blocks here. Now if I went with the traditional Minecraft style, then we would have blocks that look a lot like, yeah, it's a bit too bright. So the way it works is, oh, what's that? You want me to build something with it? Alright, let's give it a shot. So with that, I hope that you understand my thought process behind the texturing of these blocks. I wanted to depart from the traditional vanilla mineral blocks because I believe that these will look a lot nicer in buildings, especially interior buildings. Now thanks to the Silder's shaders that I'm using, this house does look quite nice in my opinion, but I believe we can improve it a little bit more with a new panel that I made. I haven't named it yet. I don't want to make it Blaze because I think that's cheesy, but I think it makes quite the difference when we have panels like this to do that with. So we can do this for the jack-o'-lanterns as well, just put panels on top. Now the cool thing about panels is because they are item frames, I can rotate them. So if I wanted to, I could have a panel, let's say, right here, actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glowstone here, like that, and a panel on top, but I'm also going to rotate it. Now that looks cool. So do you know how I did it? Do you know how I added the custom blocks? Again, you can search them in the creative menu. You can right click to place them. Okay, I'm going to tell you. It's a monster egg. Now don't panic. This is a good thing. So a lot of you are probably wondering right now, what happened to the original monster eggs then? Well, they still work. I've just added some command block magic. No worries. But this, of course, begs the question, what happens if you mine it? Well, this is the first limitation. If you mine it, you don't get the block. Unfortunately, when you mine monster eggs, there's only one scoreboard which detects all 6 kinds. So that's unfortunate. But fortunately, we can still mine it using a Silk Touch pickaxe, because it does indeed drop the block, and of course it's stackable and we can place them down. Now the third and final limitation is the biggest one of them all, but also the rarest. If we summon a silverfish right here, and if we punch it, it's going to affect my custom blocks. How are we going to solve this? I don't know yet. That's something we're going to have to do together. Now, I sincerely apologize for this, but we're going to have to do some pretty unethical tests on some of these silverfish to get to the bottom of this. So I've got a bunch of repeating command blocks, and we're going to constantly change one of their MBT tags in the hopes that maybe it will stop them from calling other silverfish. So first off, we're going to set their hurt time to 0 constantly. So we'll flick that on, hurt it. As you can see, that didn't work, so we're going to remove all you guys and we're going to try again with the next tag. The next tag is hurt by timestamp. We're going to set that to 0 constantly, and nada. Alright, let's try the next tag, which is death time. We're going to set that to 10 and just see what happens. Nope, I thought I had it for a sec, but it was just taking a while. And the next one is air. We're going to set that to 0 constantly. So let's see what happens. No, again, very disappointing. I'm not actually expecting any of these to work, but you just never know. And the last one, on ground, we're actually going to set this to 0B. Because maybe they have to be on a ground to call other silverfish. Let's see. No, that didn't work either. We're going to have to resort to more desperate measures. You guys like weird but interesting behavior, right? Well, here's a conundrum. Okay, so it worked, but I removed its AI. Basically, it starts with AI, and as soon as you hit it, the AI gets removed, okay? So if I went into game mode 0 here, then you'll see that this silverfish does have AI. As soon as I hit it, the AI gets removed so it doesn't break anything. So I've been looking through the tags of this no AI silverfish right here, and I can't see anything significantly different from one that does have AI in terms of tags. However, if I give its AI back, it breaks the silverfish blocks. We will worry about that another time. Right now, I want to talk about some of the texture changes. After all, version 0.8 is going to be more focused on builders, because I feel like those kinds of people are sorely missed, not just in the Tempest's box, but in command packs in general. So the first texture change that I should make apparent is the new item frame, which I will actually rename to something like a shelf. So I'm technically removing item frames, adding shelves. Now, if you don't like this change, then there will be an alternate resource pack that you can get for the Tempest's box, which reverts all these changes that I'm making to the vanilla game. So one of the bigger changes is shields display a lot larger in the item frames, which I think is necessary because normally they're tiny. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is these panels which you'll be able to craft. Unfortunately, I can't make them stackable, but I still think they're pretty useful. For example, we have this industrial kind of tape looking block. I feel like Minecraft isn't actually missing the industrial look. I don't think that's the theme Minecraft is going for. The Tempest's box, however, is obviously exempt from this rule, so I'm going all out and I'm adding some industrial style blocks. And of course you can rotate them to make different patterns if you really want. Now, I did add other ones, such as the blaze looking one that I mentioned earlier, and the magenta kind of amethyst block. I didn't talk about this greyish soul sand. I just thought, what if soul sand was black and white? And so it was. But don't worry though, the original soul sand is still regular. I didn't really want to change the texture of that. Now, the other thing that I added was my banners resource pack, which if you haven't seen it, there should be a card on the screen linking to it. Basically, if you put a banner in an item frame, then it gets squashed down into this kind of shape. So you can make interesting patterns using this sort of mechanic right here. So this is just a banner which is half cyan, half purple, and as you can see, I can use this to make pretty cool patterns. Like I can rotate this way, and I can rotate this that way, and this was also added into Quark as well, so I'm pretty happy about that. I think that's quite the achievement. Now, you're probably wondering, why are these displayed so strangely? Like they take up the entire slot. Well, it's so you can do unique things like this, which I actually haven't seen even mods do, which I think is cool. So we can display our items in a unique way like that. So now you can make your chests look pretty on the interior as well as the exterior. Oh, and to those who haven't seen my banners video, yes, they still work properly, don't worry. So are we going to talk about this messy looking house I made yet? Nah, let's come back to it. I want to talk about these two blocks which I haven't mentioned yet. Now don't be shocked, this is actually retextured netherrack. Remember, there is an alternate resource pack if you don't like it. And we also have this block here called Umber. Now this is new. You might have seen Umber if you follow Tyler's channel at all, but don't worry, Umber is going to work completely differently in the Tempest's box. We are actually going to go into the Nether. So this is what the Nether looks like now. Hang on, this isn't helping you at all. So this is what the Nether looks like now. It's a lot less harsh on the eyes, and it's still pink. I still tried to remain true to that, but it's a little bit redder as well. So I think this works quite well, and I also made it for the nether quartz as well, and in my opinion I think this looks better. That's just my opinion though, you can state yours in the comments if you want. Now I think it works well with the mushrooms as well, and also the magma blends in with it. Well, magma is very hard to blend with any block. I don't think it even looks good even with the netherrack as its default texture, but there you go. Now, if I could make custom biomes in the nether, and I'm trying to figure it out, then this is what I would do. I would make one completely out of umber, and I would probably rip the roof off as well and create something on top there. Now, I know I've said to a lot of people that will cause a lot of lag, and yeah, I'm not lying when I say that, but maybe it's possible. I'm willing to give it a try. Now, if I do figure it out, then I will make it so the Lost, my custom mob, will only be able to spawn in this biome, and everywhere else can be Nether Knights. Nether Knights won't be able to spawn in here. That way I can create custom biomes in the Nether, and also make the mobs in the biome custom biome specific. That was a mouthful. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there, cliche. Welcome to the drawing board. I'm amazing at graphic design, by the way. Today we're going to be talking about how custom blocks are linked to marketing. Now, I've noticed that a lot of popular maps and servers have great marketing. So here is the artwork for Herobrine's Return by Hypixel. Here we have some art for Mineplex, and here we have the art for a server called Windcraft. And then we have one for a map, Terra Swoop Force. Now let's take a look at Technic, which is a mod pack. Again, it's got a very clear and defined logo. Then there's us. 2 T's and 1 B with a gradient. Just seeing that, it's boring, and it's also very, very close to the FTB logo. That makes me uncomfortable, so we need to make a change. So by now, you must be wondering why marketing has suddenly become a big deal to me. After all, shouldn't I prioritize gameplay? And yes, in a sense that's true, But I believe that marketing allows you to have some realizations or revelations about the gameplay itself. After all, if your idea is fundamentally broken, you might have a hard time marketing it. Now sure, you might argue that there are some terrible games out there that have had nothing but fantastic marketing. Say for example, No Man's Sky. But let's be real here, the idea of No Man's Sky isn't fundamentally broken, it was just the execution. I'm worried about the ideas. And yeah, I completely acknowledge that sometimes you can have great gameplay, but with just poor marketing. But for the purposes of the Tempest's box, we need to just convey a theme and an idea. And I think that if the gameplay is flawed, then I am going to have a hard time doing that. And that's what matters to me. So imagine something like this, but hand-drawn. So you've got your mage here, you've got your ether staff, you've got one of the spheres, and you've also got the Haven Witcher around the back. And the T is made out of amethyst, and this is made of volcanium, and this is also made of amethyst as well. So imagine that hand-drawn. But I can't draw. I'm just going to have to hire a texture artist, but I'm not going to be able to do that for a while. But I do have a better plan. You see, shaders are quite nice, but they're also even nicer if they actually showcase the blocks you're looking for. You see these slabs around me, these are all made by a person called 32. Now that's all well and good, and you can even use some great screenshots out of this to make for great Planet Minecraft posts or Minecraft forum posts or what have you. But there is one thing that we need. We don't have any of these for any of the wood textures. So let's take dark oak for example. It's still dark oak. I believe there's so much potential here. So back to the drawing board we go. Carved oak will be the most simple, just a diamond shape and plenty of room for creativity. Spruce is more complicated. At first this texture might seem strange, but without the border this will make more sense. Then we have birch, which is another very unusual texture. You're just going to have to bear with me on this one. So now I have a design for half of the woods in Minecraft. So let's start designing the oak one. So we're going to have a triangle that goes like this, and then a lighter square in the middle. Now this is almost done, I just need to add some shading, then I'm going to overlay it. So the final result looks like this. Let's see how this looks in game. Well, this is what it looks like without the resource pack so far. Let's see how my pattern turned out. So now we can do some more creative things like this. This is why I went with the diamond shape, because there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. So I'm doing the spruce, and now I've run into some trouble, because Minecraft textures are even numbers, 16 by 16, which means it's very difficult to perfectly split everything into thirds. So I've got a result which looks like this. Now I'm going to add some shading and whatnot, and then we'll see what it looks like in the game. Hopefully it turns out better than what it looks like it's going to turn out to be. So now I've added some basic shading. Let's reduce the transparency of that. We'll actually increase the transparency, sorry. And we're also going to remove the lines in the middle here. So we'll just smooth all that out, and then we'll see how it goes. Now I've smoothed everything out, this is the final result. I'm a bit concerned about these extra dark pixels, they might stand out a bit, but we can always lighten them up if that's an issue. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see how the spruce turned out. Well, it's a little hard to see, although that may be a good thing. Subtlety is important, but let's darken it and just see what happens. See, I'm not sure about you, but I kinda like this better. Let me know what you think in the comments though. How can I improve these textures? And now I smoothed out the individual diamonds, and this has created a very interesting effect. Still, may not be perfect. Okay, I thought the birch texture would be my least favorite out of the three, but it's actually my most favorite, and you'll see why. Yeah, there is a lot of stuff you can do with this texture. I think because of how defined it is, it just works really well. So you can see, if I take a closer look at this texture, you can see the 3 circles that I was talking about. That's why I said bear with me, because I'm not very good at drawing, and when I have a computer to make the textures for me, then it helps quite a bit. And you can also do some cool things like this little statue that I've made. It's got a lot more character than your typical oak statues, so I'm quite happy with the way this is turning out. So this takes us back here. You can see now the custom blocks have been incorporated in the structure that I built earlier. But is this really a marketable screenshot? it doesn't look like the nicest building in the world, and I think I need to increase my building repertoire. I need more practice, which is why from now on, every episode of the Tempest Box, I will build a new structure and we'll explore it, look at it, and see how we can use it. Fascinating timing this is, but a YouTuber called Lord Cloud has been tweeting some screenshots of his fan art for the Tempest Box at me. And you know what? It's exactly what I was looking at before. So I've contacted him, haven't got a response yet, but we'll see if I can use his art for my website and we'll start promoting things that way, because I think that will be awesome. I will link his channel in the description as well. At the time of publishing this video, he has 3 Tempest Box episodes. For me, they're very entertaining, seeing my own creation being explored by a new person. It's always great to see YouTubers playing the Tempest Box. So far, we've looked at 4 different ways to simulate custom blocks, using monster eggs, using item frames, using block states, or straight up retextures. But there are 2 more methods which I use to add custom blocks to the Tempest Box. In fact, you've already seen the first method. You have a block, you throw it, the function tests if it's on the ground, and if so, it will place the blocks. And of course, you can just break the bottom of the block to return it like so, using more functions. But there is one more method which I'd like to show off, one which I haven't made use of before, and I should, because it's a great method. Custom skulls. You see, if I were to break this, I get saltpeter. Now this is great because I can also right click to place it down. It's not perfect, it doesn't make for very good decoration blocks, but since you can, break it like so and right click it, I thought why not use this as an alternative to just chucking down items. Now this doesn't summon an armor stand where it's placed, so obviously it can't be functional like these ones, but it can be great as a source material. This is of course using custom skulls. You see, if the world tests for an item that has a very specific MBT tag, this one being the skull owner and ID, then it will be converted into saltpeter, so it doesn't just say head there. And you can see it's a skull there, which also means you can rotate it, which has its advantages. Now, it's great that we have all these methods of creating custom blocks, but this is a design nightmare. There are so many different ways you have to place and obtain these blocks. How should I expect you, the players, to remember them all? It's straight up inconsistent. You see, you have these blocks which can be placed down and mined with your fist, then you have these blocks which can only be mined with a silk touch pickaxe, and then you have these ones which have to be thrown and then broken from the bottom with a regular pickaxe, and then you have these ones which behave normally except when you have to create a double slab out of them, and then you've got one where you can have item frames like so, but you can't even place them on the ground or the roof and you have to put something inside them. It's a design nightmare, but it's unfortunately the only way to do things. We have our pros and cons, and unless I remove content, we're going to have to live with these inconsistencies. Or do we? You see, just because I can't think of any solutions doesn't mean they don't exist. Maybe there's something possible that we can do. Maybe there's something to do with skulls that we can have. If there was one inconsistency that I would love to get rid of, it's this whole throwing Q thing for all my functional blocks. But unfortunately, I haven't found a good way to add right-click detection. But then again, 1.13 is around the corner, and that promises to remove block IDs. Could this be the moment that changes everything for custom blocks? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Some of you may be wondering, why don't I just use Optifine to achieve all this? Well, Optifine is a mod, and the purpose of the Tempest Box is to push the limitations of Minecraft, not the limitations of modded Minecraft. And using Optifine also pushes out the possibilities for other things. What if I wanted to develop in the snapshots? What if I wanted this on Minecraft Realms? I can't do that if I use Optifine or any mods for that matter, which is why I'm sticking to vanilla. I just had an idea. I can't believe I didn't think about this before. The answer is literally in front of me. Behold! Yes! I bet you already know how it works. It's a fishing rod. It's tracking the unknown entity. There are 66 or something durability values on a fishing rod. This is perfect for the machines. We can do this. We can finally make right-click detection. Yes! Guys, I did it. It's a bit slow, but it's more accurate than last time. Certainly better than throwing, and it does remove one inconsistency. Let's try it with some of the bigger blocks. So let's go function block. Let's get ourselves a block breaker. That sounds fun, and we'll give that here. Oh, that's a problem. That block was a special case. But anyway, let's try another one. Let's try one with, I don't know, let's try the deployer. There we go, that's good news. So the advantage of this now is that you can actually place it on the walls. It's not entirely accurate though, but still better than throwing in my opinion. There we go. Let's try throw it really far away. There we go. And yes, I'm not an idiot, you can't fish with it. There. Oh wait, no, this is working. You shouldn't be fixed the problem. You can't throw this more than 5 blocks away now, so that's good. Now, the only problem that I'm having is if you throw it up really, really high. It just doesn't want to work if you throw it up high for whatever reason. There we go. So, around this level it works, but super high it doesn't. But I'm willing to accept that limitation because throwing items is far worse. There we go. So I would consider this imperfect, but certainly an improvement. Behind the scenes, I have actually been coding the Tempest's box using C++. As you can see, I'm a bit of a noob when it comes to these things, but you have to give me some credit. I'm programming a language within a language here, and one that can break at any moment. So as you can see, I have a function which just writes a lot of files with exceptions for many special cases, which is a little bit annoying, but there you go. And down here you can see me actually programming each of the individual blocks. The ores I'm going to have to redo because they're stackable, and there's another special case for you, but as you can see here, I am giving everything a cost. I'm determining if it can be ascended or not. I'm telling it what the top block and bottom block is. I'm naming it. And this is just an excellent way of solving multiple bugs at a time. Now over on this side of the screen, you'll see in the TTB folder, we can have all of these different kinds of blocks. Now this is good news for you because let's say for example, you don't like the Amethyst sun pad for whatever reason. You can go into the block folder, right here, and all you have to do is just delete these 2 folders. Sorry, my mic fell. So you can just delete these 2 folders, and then that will just remove the feature from the Tempest's box entirely. If we go inside here, you can see that this is running the crafting recipe, this is running the breaking, this is running the activation itself. So if we just take a look at this activate function here, well actually sorry, the run function is the one that works. You can actually change this however you like. If we go into the main one, then you can increase how often it activates. So it's becoming a lot more user friendly. If you want to change the block behavior itself, then that might be a little bit difficult for beginners, but if you're a beginner, then you can remove features as you please. I can already imagine the comments on this video. Why didn't you show us the commands? Well, we are currently in version 1.12. The 1.13 snapshots are going to come out soon, and when that happens, I'm going to have to rewrite everything, because 1.13 is going to change everything. So what's the point in me telling you how this is working when everything's just going to change? I think this calls for another episode entirely. One we'll have to do after the snapshot. Thanks for watching. Hi there, thank you for watching this far. The Tempest Box is a free project worked on by me, but I would appreciate some support on Patreon if you enjoy it that much. Keep in mind though that if you choose to do this, it will be because you like me and not just for the rewards. Thank you to all my current patrons for supporting this episode, and everyone else, I will see you next time.